Hi, my name's Ivy Potter, and this is my cultural wheel for diverse learners. And I'm going to start with the 12 socializing agents. Family, school, church, community, neighborhood, peer groups, all of these things listed influence our identity, or they definitely influenced my identity. Cultural identity. So how are these socializing agents relate to my cultural identity? Well, starting with school has really influenced me a lot. You know, you learn a lot through school. You find out, you know, that you're an appropriate age, that you're a healthy child by just being around a variety of children, different children. And then the prominent language that's spoken. Obviously in my school that was English. It just reinforces that language. Your sexuality, you know, how women or girls behave properly, and, you know, how do they exude being a girl. And then your ability and disability, really, you know, what you're good at, what you're not good at. Are you like everybody else, or is in some way do you have more of a challenge than others? Also your social status and how you're treated through your peers and through teachers. And then your sex and gender really get defined at school as well. Church is great because it really obviously helped me establish my religion, my ethnicity and my nationality. It's really, I guess, Christianity is different in different parts of the world, but, you know, from Kansas, living in the heartland, the country, we take those roots pretty seriously. And the nationality of learning that our Christian roots really came from the beginning, from the settlers that settled in America. And then, you know, sexuality, how that was also established through church, you know, of different beliefs about, you know, a man and a woman should be the only ones being married, and how to act properly, really. The next one, community. My community has helped me establish my social class, you know, being the majority of individuals, you know, being white and Caucasian, and really seeing that not any other groups, we didn't have a diverse community at all. It was really white Caucasian individuals, and we really had a skewed view because the only child that was African American or of color was in a special education class. And so that really gave us not a very good view of others. My social status was confirmed again in the community and how me and my family were treated in the community. Sexuality, because you also see those good relationships and how women are to present themselves, and my geographic location. You know, we were country bumpkins, really. And we had to drive 30 minutes to the grocery store. So it really put into perspective that we really were kind of out there on our own. Next, my neighborhood. Again, my social status. Your social status is established through your neighborhood, geographic location, where we're located versus other kids that I knew, and their neighborhoods were different. And then, obviously, the language. We all spoke English, and that was just reinforced in our neighborhoods. That's how we communicated. My peer groups, again with the social status, really sexuality, learning, seeing those healthy relationships, Even as I'm an adult now, being friends and having friends with those healthy relationships, those are great examples. My age and health, really, as I get older, we get to have fun and see each other aging, and that, what we're going through is normal, just like the rest of us. We're all kind of going through the aging process together, and a lot of us have done that since a very young age. And then my ability and disability. Basically, what I'm able to do today isn't exactly what I was able to do when I was younger, but just how also different we all are in our abilities and disabilities, and how we can kind of all work together to get things done. If one person isn't so good at doing one thing, we kind of cover that, and they help us do something else that maybe we're not so good at. So in those peer groups, the ability and disabilities kind of allow us to work together really well. So next is electronic media. We're talking about the internet. There's a lot that goes on with the internet. You can learn a lot of different things on the internet. It really depends on what you're looking at. You can learn a lot about your race. And a lot of people do the ethnic, research online, and find that that's really important, and they can find out more about their race. Your geographic location is definitely defined because you can find out, what's going on across the world. That's awesome. That's great. Health, through the internet, you can see that maybe that you're doing all right, that there are maybe not so stable people out there. Language, I'm able to communicate thoroughly through English, which is great, and it just kind of reinforces that language. Sexuality, see how the world engages in different relationships and how they view relationships. You can research that and see that online. And also social class. See how people are treated differently in different groups. So sports. Sports for me was huge. I always played sports. I really enjoyed it. I liked staying active, and I think that did help me with my social status at school. It kept me healthy, and it did really point out my ability and disabilities. Some sports, like softball, I was amazing at. There were other sports like volleyball that I didn't like so much and maybe wasn't so good at. So, but sports, definitely fun. Loved that. And I still like to play sports, and as I get older, those abilities and disabilities really come out, and how they change. And, that's okay. That's just how it goes. Next, the arts. The arts really have an influence, through music and movies that you watch. Also, for me, producing these things is what I think. It really tells me, that I was pretty good at singing, but I'm not very good at drawing. And really those things can influence you in a lot of ways, but I always think of producing those or making those myself, and, some of the things that I was good at and some of the things I was not so good at. Drawing, definitely not one of those good things. Printed media. Printed media really helped me establish my social class through reading about job opportunities that were available to college-educated people. That it seemed like a lot of jobs that I was reading about required you to have an education, a college education. And the jobs that didn't have a college education were very few, and they obviously didn't pay as much. But they were, that kind of pointed that out, that can really set people apart in their social class. was either having an education, a higher education or not. Printed media also helped me with my geographic location. It showed me that how different things are here in Kansas versus, say, Florida. We just read about there was a school shooting in Florida. Oh my goodness. And that was still in our country, but on the other side of the country. It really makes me lucky that I live here. And then language. Obviously, everything around here is printed in English. If you don't know English, that's a problem, but it just reinforces that language for me. Social status and ability and disabilities can be known or established through your workplace. Either you're liked or you're not liked, and I've always had the benefit of being liked in my workplace, which, really made it a healthy workplace. And then my abilities and disabilities were prevalent with, I have to use a lot of technology. And, through being a sub and then a children's minister, you really need technology to be on your side to make things exciting because the kids know all about it and that's how they want to learn. So really going through that, making lessons and presenting lessons that others have created really points out and enforces my abilities and my disabilities when it comes to those items. Technology. Wow, technology has changed everything. From when I was a child, and technology wasn't really prevalent. We didn't have cell phones until middle school. They weren't really widely used, and definitely not by kids. It was more of an emergency thing. But, now as I've gotten older and I was in high school, they were used even more. And even now, people can't live without their cell phone. It really connects you to everything. Even it connects you to music through geographic location using Google Maps. Where you're at versus where you want to go. Language definitely is reinforced. I guess I don't really know how to change anything from English. It just comes standard in English here in America. So there's a lot of things that have changed through technology, and not just cell phones, but your TVs and what you're able to watch from your TV. Recording TV! Oh my goodness! It used to not be like that. You used to have like a TiVo, and the TiVo didn't even work very well. But when I was a kid, if you weren't sitting down watching the news when it was the time for the news, you missed it. You missed those cartoons. You missed whatever it was that you wanted to watch if it wasn't at that time. So technology has really changed a lot of facets in my life. Family really is the next thing, and it influenced a lot of my life. It put an emphasis on religion, my age, obviously, through seeing that my siblings, and obviously my birthday being celebrated every year. Nationality, we had a military family, so your nationality was really important in celebrating the nation that you're from. My sex and gender, race, language, all of that really was established first through my family. So thank you very much for watching my cultural wheel and how it has helped me develop my cultural identity. So thank you and have a wonderful day.